There are 17 cans of soup in your pantry. You don't even like soup. But 3 years ago, when the shelves were empty and the news was loud, and everything felt like it was accelerating towards some unnamed disaster, you drove to 4 different stores. You stood in the canned goods aisle under fluorescent lights, heart ticking just a little too fast, and you bought everything you could carry. And when you got home, you felt better. Not good, not safe, just less wrong. That feeling. That's what we're here to talk about. Before you were a person who hoards hand sanitizer and checks the weather radar twice before a Tuesday, you were a kid. And kids, no matter how stable their home, carry something ancient with them. A background hum. A low-frequency awareness that things can go wrong. Some of you had that signal turned up a little louder than others. Maybe you grew up in a house where money was unpredictable, where a good month could vanish overnight. Maybe nothing dramatic happened, but there was a tension underneath the normal, a sense that comfort had to be earned, not assumed. Psychologists call this an insecure base. The idea that safety isn't a given, it's a negotiation. And when a child learns that security is something you have to create, that it doesn't just exist, they grow into adults who are very, very good at creating it, often to an extreme. The soup isn't about soup. It was never about soup. It's about the version of you that learned early that the floor could drop out and decided they'd never be caught without a plan. We'll come back to why that instinct might actually be one of your best qualities in a moment. But first, let's talk about what happens when the world figures out how to sell that instinct back to you. Here's the thing nobody tells you about modern anxiety. It's not manufactured, it's cultivated. There is an entire economy built around the activation of your threat response. Not to hurt you, to engage you. Breaking news alerts that aren't breaking anything. Prepper influencers who genuinely believe what they're saying. Finance accounts that turn every market dip into a harbinger of collapse. The algorithm doesn't reward calm. It rewards urgency. And urgency, over time, rewires the baseline. So when a real event happens, a storm, a supply chain disruption, a pandemic, you're not encountering fear for the first time. You're meeting an old friend that's been showing up in your phone every day for years. And your body responds accordingly. You buy the water. You buy the extra medication. You buy the generator you've never needed and the freeze-dried food that tastes like cardboard regret. And the brilliant, maddening part? Sometimes you're right. Sometimes the storm does knock out power for 4 days. Sometimes the shelves really are empty. And that one time you were prepared, that one time the fear paid off, becomes the data point your brain returns to every single time the next alarm sounds. This is how panic buying stops being an event and starts being a lifestyle. Let's slow down and name what's actually happening inside you, because it's more interesting than just anxiety. The first concept is called hypervigilant threat appraisal. It sounds clinical because it is, but the short version is this. Your brain has calibrated itself to detect danger earlier than most people's. Not because you're broken, because you practiced. Consciously or not, you've spent years scanning for what could go wrong. It's a feature, not a bug, until it starts firing in the middle of a grocery store because they're out of your preferred pasta brand. The second concept is what researchers call compensatory control. When life feels unpredictable, when the external world is doing whatever it wants, human beings reach for control in whatever domain is available. Stocking a pantry, organizing an emergency kit, making a plan for a scenario that has a 0.3% chance of occurring. These behaviors feel irrational from the outside, but from the inside, they're a form of regulation. You can't control the economy. You can control how many batteries you own. And the third, this one's subtle, is something called anticipatory relief. The calm doesn't come when the danger passes, it comes when you prepare. The act of buying the supplies, making the plan, organizing the shelf, that's where the reward is. The crisis becomes almost secondary. You've already solved the feeling of the problem, whether or not the problem ever arrives. That's why panic buying is so hard to stop. It works, not in reality, but in the body. And the body doesn't care about the difference. Here's where it gets strange. The people most likely to over-prepare are also, statistically, among the most functional in an actual emergency. When the real thing happens, they're not spiraling. They've already played the movie in their head 17 times. They know where the flashlights are. They've already had the conversation with their family about what to do if the power goes out. There's a term for this: defensive pessimism. And it's not a disorder, it's a strategy. Defensive pessimists use anxiety productively. They imagine the worst case, they prepare for it, and paradoxically, that preparation is what lets them stay calm when everyone else is losing their mind. The problem isn't the instinct. The problem is when the emergency never ends. When the brain can't find the off switch because the threat landscape, the news, the feed, the constant low-grade drumbeat of possible catastrophe, never goes quiet long enough to let the system rest. Panic buyers don't necessarily fear more than other people. They just act on that fear with extraordinary efficiency. They've built an entire behavioral system around the possibility of disaster, which means they're often the most prepared person in the room, and the most exhausted one. So here's the reframe. Not a cure, not a 10-step program, just a different way to look at what you've been doing. The behavior that looks like fear from the outside, it's actually a deeply sophisticated attempt at competence. It's your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do: protect you, your family, the people you're responsible for. The problem isn't the instinct. The problem is that your system never got the memo that the acute phase is over. And that memo, the signal that says you can stop now, you've done enough, you're okay, has to come from you. Not the news, not the next prepared scenario. You. The work isn't to stop caring about preparation. It's to build a relationship with uncertainty that doesn't require you to eliminate it before you can feel safe. To find a baseline that isn't built on canned goods and catastrophe math. Some people get there with therapy. Some with information discipline, actually restricting the inputs that keep the alarm bells ringing. Some with something as simple as asking the question, if this scenario I'm preparing for never arrives, was the preparation still worth the cost? The mental space, the money, the hours? Sometimes the answer is yes, and that's fine. But sometimes, if you're quiet enough and honest enough, the answer is that you've been paying rent on a house fire that was never going to happen, and you can stop paying now. Because there are 17 cans of soup in your pantry, and honestly, that's probably enough.